Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. Today I have two new launches from Atelier Des Ors and I am so excited to introduce you to these new lovely perfumes. The first one is Blue Madeline. We'll do a little unboxing here. And the other is Villa Primrose. And both of these fragrances are from the Memory Lane collection, meaning that these are supposed to evoke some sort of olfactory memory and kind of transport you back in time or to some sort of scent memory that you may have. And the nose behind both of these scents is perfumer Marie Salomon, and I can't wait to share what she has created now. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about these new launches from Atelier Des Ors, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, full disclosure, I am a fan of this brand and I was so excited about this launch. Number one, the packaging just spoke to me. It is so pretty and definitely a little like vintage. I love this. And then we are going to do a little unboxing here. We are starting with Blue Madeline. Number one, their bottles are just so stunning. They have a really good feel to them, like in the palm of your hand. But these are just beautiful glass bottles. Let me just kind of turn this around, and as you might notice, there is some little gold flakes at the bottom of the bottle. So we're going to go ahead, give a little shake here, and then you're going to see this beautiful, spectacular gold flakes right here in the bottle. Little extra special, and just the entire design is just gorgeous. And I'm a little bit obsessed with this sort of blue ombre glass bottle. Now, this is not a first impression. I have been wearing these for a few days now, and I have some thoughts and opinions, but I first want to give you all the information about the scent. Yes, it is delightful. I'm going to go ahead, spray this on the skin as well. And this is a 100 ml bottle for $275. And Blue Madeline is a tribute to the emotional power of the olfactive memory. The olfactive memory has the ability to revive deeply buried memories with intense vividness. I think we have all been there where we have smelled something and it has just completely transported us back to our childhood or some sort of memory where you know exactly where you were and you're experiencing that same sensation when you first smelled something. And that's what I've always loved about perfume, is the art of how it can completely transport you to someplace with vivid memories and experiences, and it just is a true art. So on that note of celebrating memory lane, let me give you the delicious notes in this perfume. So in the top notes, you've got bergamot, which is going to add a little bit of freshness. It's got a little bit of pink pepper, a little kick of spice in there, as well as cinnamon. I love the opening of this one because it's kind of fresh and warm at the same time, kind of that warm spice of the cinnamon as well as that pink pepper. It's not too spicy, by the way, just super lovely. And then in the heart, there's going to be a little bit of a milky layer coming in, as well as a hint of rose centifolia and black tea. So that is where I'm getting a little bit of some smokiness from that black tea, a hint of that rose, and I really love this kind of creamy milkiness in this perfume. So for myself, I'm starting to get that sort of lovely milky cup of black tea. And then in the base, you've got Cade, Peruvian Balsam, praline, and creamy sandalwood. So there's just this sort of slight sweetness in the base, probably from that praline, and the note of Cade is going to give you a bit of a smoky, kind of earthy aroma. So that's where that kind of tea smokiness is coming from. And I feel like the Peruvian balsam sort of balances this out. So what I would tell you is that when I first sprayed this out, I did get like a little hint of smoke. I definitely smelt kind of like a cup of tea, but like, you know, when you make a black tea that has kind of a smoky aroma, that's what I'm getting. And I am pouring in a little bit of cream or milk or something. So I'm definitely getting that little bit of milkiness in here. And then a teeny bit of sweetness, most likely from that praline. So in the marketing material, it shows a cup of tea with a Madeline cookie. And if you've ever eaten a Madeline cookie, they're not super sweet at all. They're kind of like the perfect accompaniment to a delicious cup of tea. And for myself, they totally nailed that kind of vibe. But when I first sprayed this out, I had not looked at the marketing material. And so what I was initially smelling was I did get that tea note in here, and it's sort of a light, milky tea. So I don't want you to get turned off if you're somebody who does not like smoky scents. There's just a little poof of that. This is like slightly gourmand. This is not like a deep gourmand scent. This is sort of leaning in to that gourmand genre, but honestly, it's very slightly gourmand. It's definitely not one of your deep gourmands. And I just think this is perfect for this time of year. If you gravitate towards tea scents, I think you're going to really enjoy this because there's a freshness, a lift in this scent, but it does have some gourmand touches, but just kind of trickling, kind of walking slightly into that genre, not heavy-handed. Again, I think the Madeline cookie says it all. It's just a cookie that's not super sugary or sweet. The perfect, again, tea accompaniment, and it just smells so heavenly. So there is almost a little etherealness to this scent. It's like when you have eaten the perfect bite of a dessert, one bite and you're done. Like you don't need any more. It's not too sweet, it's not too cloying, it's none of those things. You're just like so content. And that's what I'm thinking, that I'm feeling complete contentment when I am wearing this scent. I just love, there's this freshness about it. I find that tea fragrances work really well in the hot weather. And then as far again as that smokiness makes it a little bit mysterious, but this sort of feels more on the line of something that's, I wouldn't want to say stuffy or prim and proper per se, but I do feel like I am walking into a very cozy tea shop, but this is like an elegant tea shop, okay? So this is where you're going to get a very nice fancy cup of tea in a china cup, and the tea is going to be very high end, you know, imported from someplace fabulous. That's where that smoky black tea's coming from. And then of course it's going to be served with that little perfect bite, that Madeline, just a teeny sweetness. And this scent is just such a win for me. I literally smelled this and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this one. Immediately ran down. I was like, smell my hand to my husband. I was like, is this not so good? And he is usually somebody who's gonna cut to the chase. He either says he likes it or not. And this was one that he thought smelled interesting, but also was very pleasing on the skin. Like it was immediately like that smelled really good. And he could even pick out the tea note just a bit. So it's not super strong. That's what I would say about this one when I'm talking about it being slightly ethereal. This is not going to be a heavy projector. This one is going to be kind of understated elegance. That's where I'm kind of going with that vibe with the prim and proper feel to it. But I don't want you to think it's stuffy whatsoever, because it's not. It just is not going to be like in your face. This is just definitely a more elegant, understated fragrance, and I've just been loving it. Now, this fragrance is a bit more of like a very soft, light gourmand, and it did last pretty much, I would say, 6 to 8 hours on the skin. But it's not one that's going to give you this huge sillage. It's not meant to. This one's going to sit a little bit closer to be enjoyed by you and somebody close to you. But this was one where I hugged a friend hello, and she was like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. What is it? And I was wearing this one. So this one is going to be a little bit more intimate, but in the best way possible. Also, you can always extend your fragrances or get a little bit more oomph if you spray them on your clothes, maybe put a little spray into your hair. I tend to do the walk-through method, where I am going to take my perfume and spray it like 1, 2, 3, and then walk into it. So not only do I put it on my skin, but I often will do a little walkthrough, so it's going to completely give me a cloud of this beautiful scent. As far as similar fragrances to this, I actually don't really have anything like this in my own personal collection. The only thing that came to mind when I was smelling this, and they're not alike at all, but was Ex Nihilo's Monterey Delight. And again, they are not the same perfume, but that's a very soft gourmand, kind of an entry-level gourmand, and that's probably what I'm getting a little hint of in this, is that this is just a slight entree into the gourmand. I really would not, again, put this into a deep gourmand. It's just got a slight touch of it, and that was the only perfume that I would say it had similarities to on the gourmand front. But this is definitely a tea-based scent, and it really is unique, lovely, and I've just been really enjoying it. And it was funny because I've actually been seeking out or wearing some of my other tea scents, and then this showed up and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like exactly what I have been looking for. Again, it's not too gourmand, but it's just got that slight touch that I enjoy. There's a freshness to this as well, and I also love that milky creaminess. So for me, this is perfect because it's giving me a little bit of this fresh, cooler elements, but then it includes some warm and creamy notes as well. It is just truly a lovely, beautiful scent. So excited about this one. Okay, the next one we have is Villa Primrose, and this one is going to be for my rose leather lovers, and this one is a tribute to elegance as an art of living. Absolutely love the theme of this, and this beauty comes in the most gorgeous pink bottle here. Again, these are just stunning in presentation, just so beautiful. Again, then you're going to see little flakes of gold, and I'm going to go ahead, shake this up, and this sets the tone for this gorgeous perfume. So again, this is a 100 ml bottle for $2.75. Let's go ahead, spray some of this out on a tester, as well as I'm going to put a little on my, I'm also going to put a little on my skin here. This perfume is basically a rose leather combo reinvented. And how it's described, it says that in the origins of perfumery, the most beautiful flowers were used to perfume the leather gloves worn at the time by aristocratic ladies. Atelier des Ors pays tribute to this savoir-faire of exception and reinterprets this rose leather duo. In this opposition of notes, a singular duality is created between delicacy and power, masculine and feminine, past and future. So this is a play on materials where the rose will no longer be there to hide, but to reveal the leather. So a reinvented rose leather scent. Now, when I first read the notes, I was a little worried because leather and I do not always agree with each other, but I do love rose scents and I do have some rose leather combos. And after doing so many reviews and loving so many perfumes, I know from past experience that you really have to try scents, even if you don't think there's certain notes that you like. It's really in the combination and the creation of the perfume. So you can completely love certain perfumes even though you may not agree with a certain note. And I have to say, that is the case for myself with this perfume. So let me read you the notes first. This has so many of my favorites in it, probably yours as well. In the top notes, you're going to get cardamom, pear, and pink pepper. I love perfumes with a touch of cardamom and pear. Those are two of my favorite notes. In the heart, you're going to get this rose infusion coming in, as well as ambrette and then iris. And I will tell you, if you are an iris perfume lover, you might want to check this one out. I am definitely smelling that beautiful iris in this scent. And then in the base, the leather comes in. You have amber woods as well as musk. And honestly, this one is a stunner because of the contrast in here. So when I first sprayed this out, like, I almost smelled like a very fresh young rose, which I wasn't quite expecting because of the leather and the amber woods and such. I really smelled like this fresh young rose, and then immediately I smelled some of that kind of powdery iris that really shone through in the scent. It's definitely a rose scent, but there's a lot more complexity to it than just a rose scent. That's what I'm saying. I was smelling kind of that iris. I love that warmth of the cardamom, and then there is a slight sweetness, and maybe that's what I was smelling, is the combination of that pear and the rose, because there is this sort of very uplifting fresh young rose opening, and that was probably that kind of pear combined with the rose. It's really, really pretty, but then you are going to start to smell kind of that warmth of the leather, or that cleanness of the leather. So as far as the leather, I'm definitely getting sort of like you're opening up a fresh leather bag, like a fancy handbag, and you can smell that craftsmanship of the leather. That's the leather that I'm smelling. As they described it, kind of the leather glove smell. They nailed it on that. I definitely can envision that and smell that in this scent. And then that ambrette note, I also feel like ambrette can sometimes smell slightly sweet, like a pear, because pears are not super sweet as a fruit, if you know what I'm saying. Ambrette can kind of have a slightly clean, sweet, musky scent to it. I think the ambrette in here is actually like almost intensifying the pear note as well as the iris. For some reason, I'm feeling like it's kind of making those explode just a bit. This is really a gorgeous scent. It does have a little bit of this aristocratic feel to it, but it's not stuffy. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Carmina, but that one has that saffron note that's kind of front and forward in this one, whereas this one has a bit more of that, as I said, sort of this immediate, fresh, young rose opening, but then it's contrasted with that hit of leather in here too. But what I will tell you is that the rose is going to become a bit drier. It's going to dry down a bit more powdery on the skin. This is not a deep jammy rose. This again, fresh in the beginning, and then it's going to dry down a little bit more slightly rose powdery, but again, because of the leather, the warm amber in here, it's going to be very balanced. And what I like about this particular rose scent is that it's got some oomph to it, but it isn't going to be too heavy or dense for this time of year. So once the weather shifts into the spring and the summer, I don't always gravitate towards those heavy, jammy, dense kind of scents. I do want something that is interesting and has, you know, a little something in the underbelly, but I don't want something that's going to overwhelm me, especially in the heat. And I could see where this one is going to be sort of a great like date night out, especially if you've been out having sunshine all day and you spray this on. It's going to make you feel slightly sexy, but not in a raunchy way. As I said, there's sort of a aristocratic feel, sophisticated feel to this fragrance, but it is going to dry down into a slightly powdery rose leather musk scent. Really, really gorgeous. And I'm somebody who personally gravitates towards more feminine leaning scents. I would say to me, this feels a bit more feminine, but because of that leather, I could see a lot of people who gravitate more towards those unisex, slightly masculine scents, liking this rose scent if you're wanting to kind of tread into that rose leather genre. I could see a lot of people really liking this, and again, the bottle is stunning. It's just another gorgeous representation from Atelier des Ors. Beautiful brand. Now, as far as projection and longevity of this fragrance, this one's definitely going to have a little bit more presence to this. You're going to smell it yourself and others. Well, this is not super bold, but it is definitely not as like soft as the Blue Madeline. This one's got some oomph to it, and this one did last on my skin all day long. Clearly at the end of the day, I'm expecting perfumes to kind of dry down, but this was one that I felt like I was getting wafts throughout the day of that beautiful leather rose combo. And again, I'm not somebody who always likes leather scents, so I myself was pleasantly surprised because leather and I are not best friends, and I was a little worried that this would go kind of a little sour on me, but it didn't. So thrilled with this scent and the scent trail. And of course, I always like to hear from you. Let me know if you are excited about these new launches, which one you think you would want to pick up. I will list down below in the description box where you can pick up this niche brand. But so far I have been loving both of those fragrances. To be honest, yes, I've probably been wearing Blue Madeline a bit more just because that's been what I was kind of attracted to, those kind of tea scents. But I am somebody who does enjoy a rose scent. And I'm also glad to kind of mix up because I have a lot of rose oud combos. So having a rose leather combo is kind of fun for myself. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another video soon.